This is what you were given to believe about disease, that you have no choice, that disease runs in your genes, that it's your destiny. But what if everything you know about genetics is a lie, that you were never destined to be sick? What I'm going to reveal in this episode is the truth you were never told. Hi, this is Vasudevan, author of Follow Your Heart, Your Brain is Stupid. I'm sure you must be eagerly waiting to learn the truth. So let's jump right into the show. Hi, Arun. Welcome back to my chat show. You are one of the most popular guests on my chat show. Because you are popular, people keep asking me to get you back on the show. So that's why you're there. Thank you very much for being with my audience, my viewers, and my community. Viewers, upon your request, we got Arun back here, and I'm not going to waste my time or your time introducing him. You all know him very well. And if you don't, and some of you who are new, go to watch one of the previous episodes, you'll get to know. This is the third episode on this new series, which I had shared with you that after the first episode, which was on how can you be disease free, a lot of questions which came, which we could not cover in that episode. Then we decided that we are going to break it up into multiple episodes, and each episode we limit it to just one or two questions. This episode is the third in the series of mind, disease, and immunity. So there's another very interesting question came, and I said I should pick Arun's brain on this to get some insights. The question, Arun, is what is the connection between genetics and diseases? A lot of people say that if your parents or your grandparents had diabetes or blood pressure, you are also going to have it. But it is not always true. Many of cases I've seen it as being true, but very often it's not there. So, how true is that statement? Is it a valid statement that people say? What do you?
Okay, good question. Okay. See, one of the biggest challenges today is that modern science is looking for answers outside, but the answers are not outside, the answers are inside. So, outside mein kya hoga? You will say, okay, stress, XYZ, genetics, all those external factors. One of the reasons why there is external factor and not internal factor, because if there is any internal factor, we will not pay for that. But when there is an external factor, you'll
Yeah.
pay for that.
Mm.
If today's scientists said that you can generate your insulin again, you can recreate your pancreas, you can recreate everything by your willpower, nobody's going to pay them lakhs of rupees.
Mm.
But you say, okay, it's not your fault. It's that one person's fault. So, in order to correct that, you'll have to go through all these tests and all those things. So that is the biggest challenge which today is happening is we are looking for external challenges, and that's when I said 3.8 trillion viruses inside us, and we are finding cure outside. One of the reasons why these trillion viruses are not affecting you because they haven't yet revolted. Just a
Right.
good analogy. I went to a shore and I saw beautiful sea, moonlight and everything. I said, "Hey, kitna clean beach hai yaar." I loved it. My
Mm.
friend went there and he said, "Kitna dirty beach hai yaar." Matlab, I hated it. I said, "How can two people have the same opinion?"
Mm.
Then when I saw the photos, I went there when there was high tide, so everything was covered inside the sea, so I could only see sea. But when he went there, there was low tide, so all that kachara was there. Okay? So when
Mm.
your immunity is low, all the kacharas come out. When the immunity is high, the kacharas are inside. Kachara was
Wow.
always there. The kachara
Great,
was always there.
great analogy.
Okay?
Arun, just let me interrupt you. Just for the benefit of viewers, in the probably the next, not the next, the episode after next, it's going to be an extremely interesting episode where Arun is going to be sharing with us about our dependency on medicine and what is the healthcare system doing to us. Are they really there to take care of our health, or is it are they there for business, right? So this is going to be very interesting. So keep following these episodes. You'll really enjoy that. And in bits and pieces, I think Arun has already shared in between because he's very passionate about that, and it just keeps coming out. So over to you, Arun. Sorry, I disturbed your flow of
Yeah,
thought.
no worries. So coming back to the same analogy, so we could see the kachara only when there was low tide.
Right.
All the genetic studies are done on diseased people. How
Mm.
many genetic studies are being done on healthy people or genetic study from birth? How much time do they do? Does any scientist have this time key when the child was born and keep collecting their genetic study, doing the genetic study till he's 60 years, and after 60 years, there will be a paper published on it? No, nobody has got that much funds, and nobody wants to do that because it doesn't make business sense. I'm a businessman, so I understand.
Mm.
I do business also. It doesn't make business sense. 60 years study ke baad, that person would have died. Jisne kiya. So coming back to the point, whenever we do genetics, it is after the disease. After the disease, you anyway know that genes have changed. Now go back to study of 1970. There was study was done where they said that positive thoughts change our genes. The study is being done, and it is published that yes, our thoughts change our disease. Now, if positive thoughts change our disease, our genes, negative thoughts will also change our genes. It's not partial, na? Ki only positive thoughts will change our genes. Why do we say that positive things will happen because we think positive, and negatives won't happen because we don't think negative? No, it's the same thing. Judgment, non-judgmental. So when you are negative, again, when they say any disease you take, diabetes, you can't digest sweetness, you can't digest sweetness, you can't digest sweetness. Mantra बोलते जाओ, तुम्हारा genes change हो गया. Now after diabetes, when you check the genes will have that thing. Yes, he's prone to diabetes, but before that he was not. Now coming back to genetics, what is genetics? What is genes? Or when we say it's genetics, what do we actually mean? My
Genes.
question to you. I'm not
Yeah.
challenging you. My
Yeah.
question to you.
Yeah. Genes are the chromosomes which get passed on from our parents,
It's
and most of them are
absolutely.
passed on from our parents. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if my nose is like this, so maybe one of these, the characters in the genes will be that one. My mother also had a flatter nose, a bigger nose. I have a bigger nose. Okay?
Right.
So that's okay.
Mm.
That's prarabdha jise kehte hain. That is what I got from my parents.
Right.
But let's understand, if let me take it that I have diabetes. Let me. I'm not agreeing to it. I'm just taking a case study. Now, if I go to a doctor and say, your father had diabetes? I said, yes. Oh, it's genetics. But when I was born, my dad didn't have diabetes. My dad was 30. He was hale and hearty.
Mm.
So at that time, his genes were good. No. He must have got it from his
Okay.
father. Okay.
Mm.
But my grandfather at the age of 30 was also not, and at that time, they were more younger than 30. My grandfather would have been some 25 years or 26 years. He'd never had diabetes.
Mm.
No. He must have got it from his father.
Mm.
You go back and trace back, and then you will find that suddenly the diabetes has stopped. Now the ancestors never had diabetes. So where did this transition take place? Where did this gene, suddenly transfer at the age of 25? Mind you, not
Mm.
at the age when they had diabetes. I would have, agreed if he had diabetes at 30 and 31 year of age. I got, birth. Then I would say, okay, the genes
Mm.
haven't transferred. No, there is a very very big catch, that where did the first gene, my total ancestors don't have cancer, my mom died of cancer, where did the cancer gene come in? But if in my progeny anywhere, if they get cancer, you will say, okay, it came from this thing. So
Mm.
number one challenge is this: where did the genes come from?
Mm.
Number two, when science already says thoughts can change genes, obviously. My third question to you: if my mother had high BP, my father had diabetes. So virasat mein mila. We say that it is inheritance. So father decided on his will that okay, son number one will get blood pressure from me, from your mother, but father will give you nothing, no diabetes to you. Sorry. And daughter, since she's very very dear to me, I give all the diabetes to daughter, but no blood pressure I won't give. I'm sorry. No. And this guy, I hate him. So cancer to you.
Mm.
Does it happen that way?
Obviously not. Yeah.
So that means what? That means it's not the genetics which is passing down. It is their inability to fight that disease which is passing down. Otherwise, it will be equal, na. See, if they love
Mm.
all their children equally, they will pass on the diseases equally, na. Half
Mm.
diabetes to you, half diabetes to you, half BP to you, half BP to you. Does it make sense?
Mm.
I don't know. Matlab, correct me if I am wrong. Does
Absolutely
it
not.
make
Yeah.
sense that somebody
Yeah.
gets diabetes? Acha, my last question. How many genetic diseases are there?
Huh.
Except diabetes and blood pressure and heart disease and maybe cancer.
Mm.
What are the other diseases which doctors say it is genetically passed? We have trillions of diseases. There's
Yeah.
so many diseases. Why
You,
make such a big issue? Why make such a big issue of genetics when when we talk only three diseases? Diabetes है genetics है भाई. Blood pressure है genetics है. Cancer है genetics है. Now I will answer genetics. We said thought process. Your supposingly your parents had that environment, the ecosystem that घर में कोई भी हंसी मजाक नहीं करेगा. No one will enjoy. Nothing. You have to be strict disciplinarian. कोई वो नहीं करेगा. So you have been since birth you have been trained not to enjoy life, not to enjoy the sweetness of life. Thought
mm,
process. See, thought process are transferred in generations, not the genes.
yeah,
The same child, if he is put away to some other parents, he will catch those diseases, not these diseases, because your upbringing decides the way you think.
absolutely.
And when your
Yep.
upbringing is that, when we say genetics is not the genes which we say, not the chromosomes, it is your thought process which you are passing down the generations to generations to generations, which causes the disease because you have been trained that ecosystem के अंदर आप trap हो गए हो. So ultimately, you'll say it's genes. No, it's not genes. Change the thought process. You change the thought process, you will change the progeny of your family. Your family will never. You change the thought process and say कि यही बच्चे को यही सिखाना है, बच्चों को बोलना बच्चों को भी यही सिखाना है, बच्चों को भी यही सिखाना. Like पहले होता था, अभी तो बहुत fast changing है. Previously there used to be Gurukul and all those things and everything. So जो village वाला बात है, they never got the thought process of their parents. They always got the thought process of the gurus. So none of the Pandavas had or the Mahabharata and all, they all died because of fighting. Never, no one died because of diabetes or blood pressure or cancer.
तो इतने ये लोग ये करते हैं अबाउट ये स्टडी, जेनेटिक स्टडी, ये वो क्या है, क्या है, व्हाट इज ऑल दिस? इफ यू आर सेइंग दैट देयर इज नथिंग जेनेटिकली पास डाउन डिजीजेस, तो इतना रिसर्च की किसके लिए? पैसा बनाने के लिए क्या है सब?
See, understand one thing. I'm not
हाँ.
negating genes.
हाँ.
Genetics is like this. I'll tell you what is genetics
हम्म.
in a layman's language. I have created a business,
हम्म.
and that business I can create assets out of that business, or I can create loss out of that business, or I
राइट.
can be, stable. Okay. I die, my son or daughter takes seat. Now what she or she has got is prarabdh, जिसे हम कहते हैं प्रारब्ध. यानी from birth what did you get from your parents. ठीक
हम्म.
है. Now it is up to me. Maybe I मतलब I am inheriting a business which is making losses, but my thought process can change it into a profitable business.
हम्म.
I don't want to name, but there's a big business house inherited by two brothers, and the inheritance was the same for both of them. Somebody made a great fortune, somebody didn't make it. Not blaming any of them. ठीक है? Not
हम्म.
blaming any of them. So prarabdh क्या होता है? Prarabdh is if my nose is like this, it's because of genetics. My eyes are like this. I look like this. My body structure is like this. That's genetics. That's prarabdh. Yani that is what I got when I was born.
गॉट इट.
Period. After I regained my consciousness, it is my decisions. It's not genetics. It's my decision. What I do. So genes, yes, but only to the extent of the color of my hair. My parents had black hair, so I'll have black hair. If they had brown hair, so that is why Europeans have the same color and everything. Americans have different color readiness and all those things. So let's not get into that. So if I could explain, genes only to the limit of prarabdh, your birth. That's it. After the birth, it's your thought process.
So if I'm born, I may have the features of my father, the body, overall body structure. But if I go to the gym and I develop a six pack, it's not necessary that my father also had a six pack. He may not have had, but I did
Absolutely,
that. That's what.
absolutely, absolutely,
Okay, got it, got it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
At the same time, at energy level,
Hmm.
we also pass down our thought processes because that's a separate story that that the parents don't choose their children, children choose their parents. So wherever you are born, it's because of your last birth's wishes. You are carrying that also. So
Hmm.
this study will become bigger. Genetics ko I can, That can be a half an hour, 1 hour session on pure genetics, how genetics happens, and how this ancestral, how the energy is coming. So I'm cutting it very short. That out of 125 or 30% is genetics, 70% is your dreams, your passion, and your everything.
Okay.
So don't get into that genetics thing.
Okay. Viewers, I think this is a great eye opener for me, and I'm sure it will be for you also, that just because somebody in the family, in your, whether your father, your parents, or your grandfather, if they had something, not necessarily you will get it. But and what he said was beautiful. Your father didn't get cancer at the age of 30 when you were born, so that means that gene didn't pass on to you when he had the cancer. But he developed cancer maybe at the age of 60 or 70 or whatever that age is, right? But when you were born, he couldn't have passed on that blood pressure or whatever that disease is to you, because he never had it at that point. So therefore, there is nothing like that. But basic structure and your looks, your color, all that is definitely part of genes. So you should focus on that part only. The rest is entirely what sort of value systems, what sort of conditioning you got, what sort of knowledge, what your parents or your grandparents gave it to you. That's what you are going to be, right? And again, it's your choice how you want to take it, and what else from other studies you do and develop yourself. That's going to determine what you're going to be. That doesn't mean that just because he had some disease that you will also have today, so you don't have to worry about it, right? Great, wonderful, yeah. I think this is a subject which Arun is very passionate about, and if I let him keep talking, in next 3 hours will go by, so I can't do that. Point was to understand from him this concern that many people have. They get scared. My father had this, my mother had this, so I will also have it, and in that feeling that I'll have it, you will get it because you are attracting that to you.
Again, see, that's
Yeah.
again self-programming.
Yes.
That's again self-programming. Most of the doctors, I'm sad that they program you for that. They
Mm.
program you for the disease unknowingly. See, I'm not blaming any doctor. See, disclaimer, no blaming to another. This is the ecosystem which has been created, which needs to be rethought. Think out of the box.
Mm. Guys, all these episodes that we are doing, the questions that are being answered, these are based on the experiences that Arun has had, and his studies, researches, and all. As he has, again and again reiterated, it's up to you to do your research, test it out, and then draw your own conclusions. There's nothing that this is the gospel truth. You do your own research. We are giving you food for thought. Use it, test it out, and then if you think it makes sense, practice it. If you think it doesn't make sense, your life is not going to
No
change.
wish.
Continue the way it is. Okay, thank you. Thanks,
But
thanks,
but
Arun.
but 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 there is a person who's there who got zero inheritance from my parents. My father had diabetes. He died of diabetes. My
Mm.
mother had blood pressure and she died of cancer.
Mm.
Unfortunately, they never gave me any of the inheritance.
Good. See, you got a living example here. So, what more can you hope for than a live example in front of you? Right? Viewers, thank you very much. Really, I'm sure you would have enjoyed this episode. A lot of myths about genetics and diseases and all would have been broken. If you have any specific questions, as I said, please post your questions, and we will definitely answer those questions. I'm sure some of the things that we've shared, you may not agree with it. So this is an opportunity. Take this opportunity, drop your questions, and say if you don't agree, say you don't agree and why you don't agree, right? We'll be there to either answer to your questions right in the comments itself as a reply, or we'll take it up in the next episode. Okay, so don't keep anything, say array, what are we saying and all. Anything in your within you, get it out. As Arun has said, don't keep anything inside. It can go and create problems inside you. Get it out
It
of
will
it.
create problems. It will create problems.
Okay.
True.
Right. And guys, if you like the episode, do share. These are very opportunities to share with people so that they also start thinking differently. So share it with people, and be there for the next episode. I don't know what was the next episode. Let me just check. The next episode is very, very interesting. Okay, it's going to be on allergies and autoimmune diseases. Many of you would be wondering, what is this autoimmune disease and what are these allergies? We have allergies to dust, to pollen, to gluten. To some people are allergic to peanuts, etc. Why do we get these allergies? Why I don't have the allergies, somebody else has the allergy, or somebody else has some other allergy, right? So we're going to be answering those questions in the next episode. So it's going to be very interesting. Don't miss it. And see you in the next. Bye bye. Thank you, Arun, for your wonderful analogies and your perspectives on all these. It's going to help people open up and think differently and look at things in a different perspective. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye bye. It was a pleasure, being with you guys. Bye bye.
Same here.